Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Knock On Podcast, brought to you by the good people of Zero Tackle. And Dan, you and I had a stress-free weekend. No Sharks games, but the stress didn't stop for clubs, coaches, players, referees. What's been happening?
Everything's been happening to the point where we are over an hour delayed because there's breaking news, Terry. Newcastle Knights have sacked, not officially yet, but it's looking that way, Adam O'Brien. Now, you and I discussed quickly off air. I was a lot less shocked than you are, and you were a little bit more, don't see why they did that. What are your thoughts on this, again, breaking news?
I mean, I see why they did it, because the results have been terrible. They're the worst attacking team for like 20 years. They have had 11 games this year without scoring a try, but they're going to replace him with their attacking coach. Now, say that again. They're the worst attacking team of the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone 11 games without scoring a try in the first half, and they're sacking their coach to bring in their attacking coach. The guy who can't initiate the points is now going to coach them.
It's a very good point. I didn't know it was the attacking coach, just quietly.
Oh, I just read it on Fox, so it just gave me a little bit of ammo. Look, for me, I am not pro or con Adam O'Brien, right? But I do think Adam O'Brien has done a good job in his tenure at Newcastle to get that team into the finals and get that team into the second week of the finals and win 10 games in a row and, get all, win a finals game. And he has packed McDonald Jones Stadium every week with dross, their fans and their team. But now they've given him some money. They said, you can go out and recruit some players. And he went out and he got half-decent 5'8", who's probably going to play halfback for him. Let's be real. And it looks like Trey Mooney's going to go there.
Yeah.
And now they've turned around and said, well, here's some money. Go spend some money. Now we're going to sack you. Sounds like a Chelsea move, and you know all about that.
I certainly do. We are known, for those that aren't EPL fans, for saying, here's a skipper, new coach, a gaffer. Go spend, what you want, before you get a chance to run with it. Too bad, new bloke's in. I wasn't shocked. Look, I'm not as high as Adam O'Brien as people that support him are, given that I'm not a supporter. I think that his record has been highly padded. Now, I know this is going to sound stupid, that when Kalen Ponga is not the best player in the competition, his win rate is well below 50%. They made finals on 6 weeks of Kalen Ponga being the best player in the competition. He won a Dally M in like 2 months. We've seen that there's no plan B. They've shown that the entire club revolves around Ponga. They've also proven that they can't move into 6. They can't do this. They can't do that. Plan A is the only plan they have. And when it doesn't work, it really doesn't work. I get that he's been injured. I get that Dylan Lucas is out. I get that Fletcher Sharp is out. I 100% get it. I just don't think there's enough there to go, we'll go around again. We got, Dylan Brown coming in. I think he'll play halfback. He and Fletcher Sharp should be exciting when they're on their day. This has a Titans feel about it. They're going to I think they'll score plenty of points next year with those two in the halves. And I know that's funny to say, considering what they've done. You got Gagai and Best. Pong will be back. Brayley's not there at 9 being a stopgap anymore. And I don't mean to disrespect him. It's just the truth. I think it was time, mate.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, maybe it was time. But you've then let probably the best option go to another club. And this guy has, Josh Hannay, no secret, said that he has a very good relationship with Kalen Ponga when he was going and interviewing for the Knights job. Kalen Ponga in Origin camp spoke highly of Josh Hannay. You have to have think there was something behind the scenes on that. I get it, they've got to pay him out 12 months. So if Blake Green becomes a budget cost because they have sacked Adam O'Brien and they need to go cheap and see how he goes, I don't like the timing of it. I think if you were going to do it, you could have done it 10 weeks ago. And then if you were going to go down this path, you could have done it 10 weeks ago and then given Blake Green the reins to see if he was the person for next year, because what's Blake Green going to know in the next 2 weeks? Who do they play? They've got the Sharks this week and God knows who in the final week. I don't even care to have a look. but you're not going to get anything out of that. If you had given him 10 weeks, you could make a decision on that to go, after 3 weeks, you're trying to go, man, this guy isn't it. We need to go and get Josh Hannay. Or after 3 weeks, go, oh, maybe so. But they'll see a lot more from Blake Green. But as I said, they're taking their attacking coach, who sounds like one of the main problems, and dumping him in the full-time seat. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's not ideal. There's just unless look, I don't think Sam Burgess is the idea, but unless there was like a Sam Burgess lined up that they could say to people, "Hey, we got a plan. Like this is happening." It just sounds like 10 weeks ago they were sure Adam O'Brien was the guy. Now they're not. I don't know what's changed because they haven't been good for way more than 10 weeks. But it looks like that is what's going to happen. Is by the time this drops, we got their 4 or 5 people confirmed. I doubt Newcastle are going to say anything at 8:30 or 8:55 at night. But it's funny you mentioned Josh Hannay before, mate, because he's officially been named the new Gold Coast Titans coach as Des Hasler, as we suspected many, many months ago, has been removed from his position. There was reportedly a clause in the contract that said if he didn't play finals, they could let him go. They let him get to his 500th game. I think it was handled pretty well. There was that little bounce back where they thought, oh, hold on. And then the Titans became the Titans again. I think this was the right move, and I think they've got perhaps the best coach on the market. Good on the Titans.
Yeah, and I like what they're doing because they're giving Des the opportunity to avoid the wooden spoon, or they're giving Des the opportunity to absolutely own it. Oops.
Every week, Terry.
Every week. They're giving him the opportunity to own it. So yeah, look, I liked the move. I was never a fan of Des Hasler going to the Titans. I made that quite well known that I thought that was a horrible move for him, for the Titans. It just didn't seem to fit. The culture and Des just didn't align. I like this move for Hannay. I would have thought that he was odds on to go back to the Cowboys. And replace Todd Payton, but they have come out and said, no, we're not in the market. We're not even interviewing. We've got no interest in having a look at another coach. We're keeping Todd Payton for 2026, and we're letting him turn this around. There's some talent there. I don't see it personally, but I don't think a new coach is going to change that. Same as I don't think a new coach is going to change Newcastle all that much either. But the Titans had to do something.
They did.
They really did have to do something. And they've gone out and got, as you said, the best available assistant coach. I've seen some people dump on it and say, oh, Garth Brennan was also a highly touted assistant coach. Garth Brennan's not an Origin assistant, though. Like, Josh Hannay has been around the traps for a long time, and lots of Queensland, like, he was there with Mal, he was there with Kevy, he's been there with Billy. So it's not as if he's just a new kid on the block. He's been there for a while. He also filled in admirably during a pretty rough situation at Cronulla. We rissold John Morris. We said that we weren't going to get Craig Fitzgibbon in early. We handed it over to Josh Hannay, who himself said he wasn't ready. But he's learned a lot now. I like, put it this way, I've always said that I wanted fresh assistant coaches, but he wasn't the one I wanted to go.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's brief all involved. The Titans had to move on. It's been a mess under Des Hasler. Look, David Fafita last year signed for another club, came back. They said, we're going to build the club around you. Then Des pretty much said he didn't want him. And now that Fafita said, I want out, they're like, oh, no, stay. Everything's good. I think this is a last effort to save that relationship. They'll go to Fafita. Hey, Hannay's here. They'll talk. I think it's fractured. I think they should let him go. I also think it's a way to potentially keep Tino away from exercising one of his 35 clauses. They were going nowhere and quickly. I don't like the fact they've re-signed Jaden Campbell for 5 years. We discussed that on Outlaws. Well, they're going to. They keep making the same mistakes. They keep giving these all or nothing plays, these humongous deals with clauses, and it's frustrating. Hopefully, with Scott Sattler coming in as, I believe, the head of football, or he had a prominent role. Sorry, I should check that before we hit record. And Hannay coming in as a new coach. It's a fresh approach because those Titans fans, and there's not many of them, but they deserve better.
Yeah, and that's, even Des made a joke of it on the weekend. He said, well, that was a Warriors home game, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
the fans just aren't turning up anymore. And it's been like that for ages. Like, you and I have done trips to the Gold Coast, and I went up there in 2011 and we absolutely bladdered them. And it was just shark after shark after shark in the grandstand. But yeah, look, something has to change. I wish Josh Hannay all the best, but not at the expense of Cronulla.
Nope. Fair enough. But, mate, I don't even know how to segue to this. Penrith Panthers resting 16 players, I believe. 16 against the Bulldogs this week. There was a huge betting plunge hours before this came out, and everyone thought, oh, well, he's resting players. Then it came out. I don't want to talk about that side. I shouldn't have brought it up, but it's just disrespectful. Now, I know he's got every right to do this, but to me, it says we don't want to win this week, which is fine. They don't need to. They're not going to finish top 4. They can still win the comp from outside top 4. But can you rest 5 players and 5 players next week? Do you really have to drop 16 altogether?
If any team has earned the right to do this ever, it's the Penrith Panthers. They have slogged their guts out to win 4 premierships in a row. They've been dismantled by players, injuries, leaving, state of origin, form. This year, they're actually like getting a bit of an injury curse as well. If any team has had the right to drop players and this amount of players and turn around and go, I don't care about the last 2 weeks of the competition, it's the Penrith Panthers. I don't find it disrespectful. I don't find it out of the realms that they can do it. If this is within the salary cap, they have every right to do it. Good on them.
I'd play devil's advocate a little bit. Now, I don't really disagree with what you're saying, but the other side of it is the Bulldogs can feel disrespected. The Penrith fans that have bought tickets this weekend can feel a little, Now, again, if they win another premiership, they're not going to care, but the fact is tickets aren't cheap. It's a huge game. The broadcasters are going to be like, well, there's not going to be a lot of betting on there. And I know it doesn't matter and it's not his, but the NRL got betting partners out the backside that are going to go, well, there's no action on this game because it's fait accompli that the Dogs are going to win. Their New South Wales Cup team needs to not lose by 4 points or more or win to qualify. And their Jersey Flegg team who will be playing New South Wales Cup, are also they can finish second, they can finish 5th. So it also says to me that they're happy playing Cronulla in round 1 of the finals. Cronulla should feel disrespected by that.
Right.
I don't hate that he's resting it. I just feel like 16 is taking the piss.
But here's this. Ivan Cleary should not care about what the Bulldogs think. Right? The Bulldogs should feel thankful that Ivan Cleary has done them a favour and they're not going to go and get spanked this week by Penrith. They're going to get the opportunity to play themselves back into a little bit of form. So there's that. Ivan Cleary should not care about betting partners. Ivan Cleary should not care about broadcasters. I would honestly, if I was Ivan Cleary, I would have dropped myself and said, I'm a bit sick this week. My assistant coach is going to take over. The broadcasters probably do have a right to turn around and go, hey, like this is a bit banging out of order because this is the Thursday night primetime game. It's not as if they're hiding it away 5:30 on a Saturday. When the draw was done, this was the game where the Canadians picked and said, this is probably going to be one of the best games, let's stick it on there. However, again, that's not Ivan Cleary's issue. Ivan Cleary's issue is about getting his team fit, ready, and in the right mindset to go into the finals. Now, as you said, top 4 is a pipe dream for them at the moment. Even if they win the next 2 games, you're probably feeling the Broncos are going to win the 2 games and Cronulla are going to win 1 and the Warriors might win 1 or 2. So whether they're going to finish 7th or 8th, who knows for them. They're probably going to rest players against the Dragons as well. I would say that you'd see players like Casey McLean and Luke Garner and Jenkins come back for those games. But I think the Stars will sit out the Dragons game. But playing devil's advocate on this, I'm Team Cleary. He has every right to do it. He's earned the right to do it. And if I'm Ivan Cleary and my phone's lighting up from the NRL, they're calling him going, wait, I wouldn't even answer. They can't find him. They can't find him because he's not breaching any rules.
No, technically he's not.
Unless they want to audit him today and find out if he's going to breach the salary cap at all. He's not breaching any rules. He's not doing anything wrong. He has every right to name the team that he wants. He could legitimately turn around and go, they've all got 1 week injuries.
Yep.
What are they going to do about it?
Well, there's nothing you can do. I don't know. Like, I don't really have a problem with it, if I'm being totally honest. It just, the level of it shocks me a bit to the point where I'm just like, Probably leave 3 or 4 players in there and say, hey.
Well, why?
Other-
What do they get out of it? If you're dropping 12 players, you're leaving 4 and you're still going to get beat by the Bulldogs, then one of them cops an injury. Why not just drop them all?
Yeah, very cool. Another player, mate, who will be unavailable for the next 2 weeks. Harry Grant, suspended for a shoulder charge. It was a shoulder charge. I don't care what anyone says. I don't see how anyone can argue against it, to be honest. I think they were going to rest him next week anyways. I think they'll win this week. They'll beat the Roosters. Next week, they're going to rest everyone. I don't think Craig Bellamy cares about the wider premiership. I don't think this is going to change anything at all.
My only question is, does this rule Harry Grant out of a Dally M?
Well, he's not going to poll for the next 2 weeks, and I believe it's going to cost him points too. So yes, yes, it does.
He was I think, full disclosure, I think James Tedesco is going to win it. And I've got 2 smokies for that. One is Ethan Strange and the other one was Harry Grant.
Yep.
But yeah, look, fair enough. He's been suspended. It was a bad tackle. I didn't see it at the start. And then when you saw the replay, you were kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
so that was a bit ordinary. 2 weeks, sure.
Yeah, the fact that Melbourne fans didn't blow up about this says to me, yeah, they knew he wouldn't play in the last round anyways. So it's kind of an enforced. What it does do is it doesn't wipe the slate clean, but you know when 3 or 4 little things become a suspension all of a sudden, that won't happen anymore. Not that I think that it will. He's either it's gonna be a fine or he's gonna get suspended. But I didn't like the tackle.
Nope.
I understand those that said, hey, what's he supposed to do? A big guy running at him, you turn. It didn't feel like that. It just felt like, I'm going to shoulder charge this bloke. He got him a little bit high. It was a shoulder charge. The sin bin was completely justified. The 2 weeks is completely justified. I just don't think this is going to bother Melbourne at all.
I don't think it's going to bother him either. Who they've named Brock, what's his name? Newtown legend. Yep, him. He's the 9. The pie guy, his son. Oh, come on.
No.
He used to score tries for fun.
Keep digging, mate. Keep digging.
Oh, this is bad on your behalf, not knowing a Newtown player.
I'll be interested to see who this is because I honestly don't know who you're referring to here. He used to score tries for fun.
I'm bringing up the team list right now. Bronson Garlick.
Oh, well.
He used to score tries for fun for Newtown. He's named at number 9.
So did everyone. Newtown are great, but
yeah, Newtown are great.
They're not going to miss him. But a player who will be missed, Sam Walker, will miss the trip to Melbourne, which puts the Roosters at genuine. They could miss the 8. Let's be honest. Even if they beat South, if Manly do their job, or more likely the Dolphins do theirs, they'll jump them on the points differential. But I've got a big take here, Terry, that some Roosters fans aren't going to like. No Walker, no Roosters. We saw this weekend, as soon as he went down with an awful concussion, HOA, Cat 1, 11-day stand down. It was awful. As soon as I saw it was Sam Walker, my heart dropped. Like, well, there goes the game we're going to have, and they're probably going to miss finals now. They looked terrible against Parramatta. Disgusting. Tedesco was no good. Savala was no good. They were no good. They need him back. Okay, right the storm off. Hopefully the Dolphins drop the game to whoever they're playing, the Titans, I believe, and go in and smash South. I think with him back in there, I think we've seen over the past month, I think he had 14 try assists in like 6 games, which is ludicrous. He comes back in there a shot. I just feel like this weekend, don't even bother. Don't even send him to Melbourne.
No, and I mean, probably the solace that you can find is that Hugo Savala and Sandon Smith had a half-decent combination going before Walker came back. I mean, they pulled the pants down of Cronulla. We remember that fatal night in Gosford. But I think the good thing about this is that Trent Robinson has said, no matter how injured we are, you're not playing Chad. No. Like, no. Close the door on that one. I mean, I probably would have taken more offence to Chad Townsend being named than Ivan Cleary dropping 16 players out. Like, that's how offensive that is.
Yeah, bye.
I think regardless of whether Sam Walker was playing or not, they're on a hiding to nothing down in Melbourne. So
Yeah. Probably fair. It's taken away the fun of the game though, because that would have been a ripper. Like, okay, they
it's
lost to
still
the
going to
Eels.
be because that Roosters team, when James Tedesco is playing, that like even though they got beat by Parramatta, he was still creating opportunities. They've got players who can pull something out of nothing. Marky Mark can, he's brilliant. Daniel Tupou is going to be back in this game, so we're going to get Tupou versus Coates.
Whoa.
Like, well, not on the same side of the field. Coates
No,
will be marked up against Marky Mark, but
they're gonna
like
flop.
this is going to be. It's still going to be a good game. Regardless, it's still going to be a good game. I just think Melbourne are going to have too much for them.
I hope you're right on both, but look, I've saved the two fun ones to the end. This week we saw. Every week I say it's the worst decision of all time.
Okay.
I think this week we saw the worst decision of all time. So to set the scene, the Bulldogs had the ball, throw the ball at a Storm player, scuffle ensures, penalty goes to the Bulldogs. And you're like, what? You have a look. Little head pat. Later in the game, Cam Munster, same half, I believe, gets a little head pat, throws the ball, runs at the hooker to cause a scuffle, penalty Melbourne because of the head pat. That is the worst precedent you can set. Neither of those two, if you call one, you have to call the other, so I get it. But neither of those two were the aggressor, neither were the instigator, neither of them brought it up to the next level. It's ridiculous. It was a little rev up. Okay, a face palm or I get. But it was a little head pat. There was nothing dangerous about it. There was nothing even, he didn't say a word he shouldn't have. He didn't pat him on the bum. It was just a little, well done. How many times do you see a bloke come in and rub a guy's head?
I didn't like the Grant Anderson one for a couple of reasons, right? Matt Burton dropped the ball and Grant Anderson wasn't involved in the tackle. So Grant Anderson actually came in off his wing and grabbed Matt Burton's headgear and then patted him on the head, right? And because Viliami Kikau made a scene of it, that's when the referee turns around and says, well, this wouldn't have happened if you weren't a dickhead. So I understand why he gave that penalty. I didn't see the second one, but if they're setting the same precedent, then sure. But I just thought the Grant Anderson one was childish more than anything. And the look of embarrassment on his face after they gave the penalty said it all.
Now, Cam Munster is probably, football smarts, the most intelligent player in the competition. Nah, not so much otherwise. He knew. He felt the tap. He played the ball was passed. He ran at the marker to cause a scuffle, knowing he would get the escalation penalty. It shouldn't have been given. It had to be given considering what happened. But if Kikau doesn't throw that ball, there's no penalty to the Bulldogs. I just think it's the third man in, it's the rub on the head, it's the pat on the bum, well done, mate, you've just handed the ball over. If you get up and throw the ball, you're going to get a penalty now. Like, just throw the ball. If you feel any touch, just throw the ball.
Well, Kikau didn't throw the ball. Kikau ran in and pushed Grant Anderson because
Burton
Grant
threw the
Anderson
ball, didn't he?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember it now because it was just a stupid incident. But I remember on the night when they gave the penalty, I was like, it could have gone either way, but this has just made Grant Anderson look like a fool.
Look, if you feel a touch this week, just blow up.
Yeah.
And just go, no, well, Adam G said, of course, week to week, it doesn't make game to game. Set to set, it doesn't make any difference. But I'm just saying, I didn't like what I saw. And speaking, before we get out of here, Terry, the things I don't like. We talked on Outlaws about how Kevin Walters, your best mate and mine, huge eye roll emoji, come on and said, I want Gordon Tallis as my cultural leader or whatever. And the NRL said, don't be ridiculous. And he's come out and said, cool, I'll just take him as an assistant coach. At what stage do you say, Kev, get out of here, mate? This is a dead set joke. He just wants to take his mates on a piss up to England. That's how it feels to me.
Well, I think Kevin Walters realises he's only going to have the job for 3 weeks.
Yeah, probably.
So, I mean, coaches pick their assistant coaches, though. Right? They do. Coaches pick their assistant coaches. You have a look at any new coach that goes in. You have a look in NBA, you have a look in the EPL, you have a look in even the NBL. You have Fitz picked his coaches.
Yeah.
You have a look at the coaches. They do pick their assistants, right? Now, this guy's the Australian coach. Who cares? Like, I think the cultural position was just a dead set G up. But Gordon Tallis played and captained Australia. He's probably got more credentials to be there than Kevin Walters.
Look, probably, but I would argue that you put on NRL, whatever it is, and I'm not here to disparage other shows, at any time and listen to 3 things he says, and you're like, you should be nowhere near rugby league, Gordon, let alone the assistant coach of the Kangaroos. Now, full disclosure, I don't think Kevin Walters should be anywhere near this job or any other in rugby league. If he has to commentate, let him go. I can't remember the word he made up the other day. Let's call it cromulent. It wasn't. That's a Simpsons reference. Ha ha. But this is just a joke, mate. This is when, especially, you got Payne Haas and Hammer not defecting, but choosing to honour their heritage and play for Samoa. You got Tino hanging on by a thread, and you've got Keon Kalamatangi 50-50. You need to, this Ashes tour needs to make the Kangaroos jersey the number 1 in rugby league. It'll never be, because it's the Queensland and New South Wales Origin jersey. That's just the way it is. But for the purposes of this argument, it needs to be the number 1. And Kevin Walters and Gordon Tallis going over there for, hey, we're playing the Poms, let's get them. That's not what we need to do. It needs to be Cameron Smith. It needs to be what you can throw Lockyer in there. You can throw Danny Badiris. You can throw any. I was going to say Ennis before he re-signed with Manly because I don't want NRL coaches, but he may not even qualify like that because he's a halves coach. Like you said, take Laurie Daly. I wouldn't. But he's the Origin coach. Like, take Billy Slater. It should be Billy Slater and Cam Smith. Easy. And instead, like, Snappy Walters and Gordon Tallis.
You're not going to please anyone. You're not going to please everyone.
Well, you're not going to please me, mate. But we need to get out of here.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Knock On Podcast, brought to you by the good people of Zero Tackle. It is your one-stop shop for everything rugby league. News, transfers, gossip, contracts, up to date, everything that you need on that website. Breaking stories, 20 to 1, your Friday or your Monday thoughts, whatever it is. 5 landing spots for anybody that's going to happen. Who's going to be the next coach sacked? I talked Dan out of saying Adam O'Brien. It was Adam O'Brien. So what do we got this week, Dan?
Well, I'm going to nerdy nerd because I don't get to do this very often. When Des Hasler was sacked, Scotty reached out to me and said, you think this is going to kickstart dominoes? I said, yes. Yes, it is. Someone else is getting sacked, possibly as soon as this week. And I wrote that, and I got told no, and nerdy nerd, I finally got one, Terry.